Kapla warriors, today is a good day for boba. I just finished drinking in record time my favorite boba, which is made with coconut. Delicious. Today we are talking about Zeus, Greek mythology, but specifically Zeus. And when we are talking about Zeus, specifically his romantic relationships, which he is best known for besides the lightning bolts. And Klingon words of the day. I have 2 words for you. The Klingon word for myth, which is witch. Witch. And the other word is the word for love, which is perfect. The word for love, I'm going to type it in the chat for you. It's bong. But that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? In English and in Klingon. So yes, love and myth. The love myths of Zeus. Yes, Zeus, he was very eager. He was full of so much love that he couldn't contain it or keep it just for his wife or wives. So, before we dive in, let's review the schedule. And Monday's gaming. Monday's already passed. Tuesday's karaoke. Karaoke, I'm working on my confidence because the more confident I feel, the better I sound. Working on that tension. It's possible I said booba. It's, the accent. And Wednesdays, today, class with Dr. Export. Based on the topics chosen by you, the viewers. Today, the sexual adventures of Zeus. Thursdays, gaming. Still continuing with Dinkum for now. Zephyr, I don't know. You'd have to tell me. Oh, thank you, government. Am I going too high? Is that what you're saying? And then Friday, guest host streams. With this Friday, guest hosts from Nikkei also are chosen by you, the viewers. And you called my bluff and chose Grave. So I will be talking low and slow on Friday. So, Acacia, I would say yes, less deadly, but however, much less offspring, much to Henry VIII's dismay. Oh yes, chat, try to answer Zephyr's question. Zephyr is the authority on the Greek mythology. Alright, let's check in on the fishbowl. Fish tank. I guess it's a tank, not a bowl. Not a bowl. Alright. And there they are. Oof. Yes, Isaiah, it does seem that Zeus agreed, and he was not afraid to try any means of obtaining that goal. Alright, no fighting, please. And let's go ahead. I believe we're ready to dive in. It's the man of the hour, Zeus. I assume this is from some kind of ancient pottery. Zeus, god of the sky, god of lightning and thunder, and king of the gods, king of the Olympian gods. That's an important distinction, which we will get to here. So here's we're going to start with the origins of Zeus. So, wait a minute. There we go. Oh, thank you, 1F. Yes, dear God, I'm sorry to have read that, I must say. That is one way to say it, but yikes. Out of context, you're really only 5 minutes late at the most. No, not 5. You're not 8 minutes late, it's 8:06. So you're only like 4 minutes late. Alright, so in the beginning, there was actually chaos, who we'll talk about a bit more. There was just chaos. Chaos. Oops. Why is it zooming? Well, what the hell? That's all it wants me to do. Alright, so in the beginning, there was chaos. Chaos later gave rise to Gaia, the Earth, essentially. She represents the Earth. She's the personification of the earth, and Uranus, or Uranus, who was the god of the sky. Later had a planet named for him. So the sky and the earth, that's what was there in the beginning. They gave rise to the Titans. Look at all these Titans. And the two important Titans here are Cronus and Rhea. Cronus and Rhea were the Titans who gave birth to Zeus and the other Olympians. These ones are who we will focus on, although we're missing someone here. Not sure, that's not quite right. Let's see, here we go. So, Uranus and Gaia had Cronus and Rhea and their siblings, who then had Demeter, Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, and Hestia. But, let's see. So, Cronus, the problem with Cronus is, so Cronus castrated his father, Uranus. He castrated him to take power. Then he married his sister Rhea. There's lots of familial relations in Greek mythology. So he castrated his father, married one of his sisters. Then Rhea gave birth to some children. But there was a prophecy told to Kronos that his children would castrate and overtake him. So he swallowed his children. So here's a picture of him just swallowing his babies. He obviously had no other choice. Rhea, understandably, was pretty bummed. She was very disappointed, sad even, that her children were swallowed by her husband. So, her next baby she was pregnant with, she hid with her parents and gave, that baby was Zeus. She hid him, smuggled him away, hid him, and then returned to Kronos with a little rock, a swaddled rock. So he just swallowed that swaddled rock, thinking it was Zeus. So he's very hungry, but not very intelligent. He swallowed that baby, thinking, well, there, that's done. I'm all set now. But Zeus grew up. Then he and Gaia made Kronos. So Zeus and his grandmother forced Kronos to throw up his siblings. He said, I need you to regurgitate my siblings right now. And he did under duress, obviously. Then Zeus continued. He freed the Cyclops, who had been imprisoned by Kronos and Uranus. And then the Cyclops, in return, gave him a gift, which was a lightning bolt, which he is well known for. So they were like, thanks, bro, for freeing us from this awful prison. Here's a lightning bolt. And then, with his lightning bolt and his siblings freed, the Olympian gods took on the Titans in war. So it was Titanomachy, a war between the Olympian gods and the Titans for control of the universe. How do you confuse a rock for a child, 1F? Well, he was just in such a hurry, he figured there's something round in a blanket. It must be a baby. And then, so 10 years later, this war was still raging. The Olympians versus the Titans. So then Grandmother Gaia suggested Zeus, why don't you go free the 100 Hands? Let me show you these horrifying 100 Hands Greek mythology. I ran out of time to bring up all the images I wanted. So these 100 Hands were these horrifying creatures. I believe it was 50. They had 50 heads and 100 hands. So Zeus was like, bet I'ma set free these 100-handers who had also been imprisoned by the Titans and by Uranus. So with the help of them, he won the war, banished the Titans to Tartarus, which is a pit-like abyss, and made the 100-handers the guardians to keep the Titans in Tartarus. Which is featured in the Disney movie Hercules. Hades sets free the Titans, I believe. And God of Wolves, don't you need you to see my my Nikkei Pixiv bookmarks. My accent is confusing my pronunciations. Alright, so that is how Zeus came to power. Congratulations, Zeus. So, then, moving on. Goodness, I need a sip of water, having some heartburn, because I drank that boba so quickly. That's true, Acacia. Good ratio. Oh, 100 hands and 50 eyes. Ah, thank you, Zephyr. God of Wolves, I'm saving that for the 100,000 stream. Along with the face reveal. Although I believe I previously said... Did I say 100,000 or a million? Anyway, so... Then Zeus, continued. He took power and straight away started making some babies. Don't worry, Con, we will talk about Matisse. She will be discussed. So, Zeus started making babies right away, but he does not discriminate, though Hera is his wife. Although, depending on the mythology, several women are listed as his wife, but it's always agreed upon Hera is the main one, or at least one of them. So, he had many children. We'll go over some of them. First, with Hera, his wife, he had Ares, Hebe, and Ilithia. Ares, of course, is the god of war. He's very temperamental. Ilithia is the goddess of childbirth and midwifery. And then, Hebe is the goddess of youth. So, straight away, he starts off making some babies. Also, we should mention, Athena. Let's get a picture of Athena. Athena birth. Let's see. I'd like a nice picture of this for you. Here you go. So, it's... Some mythology says that Athena was daughter of Zeus and Hera. Others say that what happened with Athena is... Wait, I'm sorry. Nope. Skipped ahead. I'm talking about... we'll come back to that. Anyway. Back to his family tree. So, he got... So, yes, he had... Right away... He had a daughter with his sister. Then he's like, hey, I've got more sisters. And so with Demeter, he had Persephone. Demeter, his sister, the goddess of harvest, fertility, and earth. He had his daughter Persephone, the goddess of spring, and queen of the underworld. And then, let me back to my notes. Yes. Yes, that's correct. Then, Hera, I forgot to mention, Hera is the goddess of women, marriage, and childbirth. His other siblings are Poseidon, god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses. Hades, god of the underworld, and Hestia, goddess of the hearth, home, and family. Now you'll notice when Zeus took power, he divided the realms. He took the sky, he gave Hades the underworld, and Poseidon the sea. He divided amongst the men, so a little sexist, but I would argue that the women still got some pretty good jobs. Yes, Acacia, there is some overlap between different gods and goddesses. That does tend to happen. You are late, Josbert, but, what's that phrase? I can't think of it, but we're glad you're here. Oh, my eye. Alright. Continuing. So, then with Demeter, he had Persephone. Then... Oh, my head is blocking. Then, next, there's Matisse, who was mentioned by Con. It's debated whether... So, the belief is that what happened with Matisse... Let me scroll down here. So, Zeus... laid with Matisse, as you would describe it. And, but then he heard a prophecy that Matisse would have 2 children. A daughter who would be even wiser than her, the Titan goddess of wisdom, and a son, who would overthrow him. So, Zeus, after getting her pregnant, he quickly went ahead and swallowed her. He convinced her... How did he swallow her, you might wonder, if she's a Titan? Well, he tricked her into shape-shifting into a fly. Then he swallowed her. And this Matisse is spelled M-E-T-I-S, not Matisse like the Nike Matisse. Yes, Charlemagne. Sounds the same, but it's different. So he tricks her into turning into a fly, then he swallows her, but in his stomach she gives birth to Athena, and then so naturally, Athena is born out of his head, as you would expect. Out of his forehead comes his daughter, Athena, who is the goddess of quite a few things. Let me get this here. She is goddess of... Where is she? Wisdom and good counsel, war, the defense of towns, heroic endeavor, weaving, pottery, and various other crafts. What kind of stomachs do these gods have, Bloot? Bloot? Toot? Well, they have godlike stomachs, filled with ambrosia. So that's his other daughter. So with Matisse and yet without her. Very special. Next, so some children with his sisters. He had a cousin. He had Athena with his cousin Matisse. Then there was another cousin, Leto. With his cousin Leto, he had twins. Apollo, god of archery, music and dance, truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sun and light, and poetry. Also, a gay god. Apollo was well known as being a gay or perhaps bisexual god. And then the other twin was Artemis, goddess of wild animals, the hunt, vegetation, and of chastity and childbirth. Artemis was my favorite goddess as a child. In 6th grade was the unit on Greek mythology, and Artemis was my favorite. And so, yes, with his cousin, the Titan, he had the twins. Then with another cousin, Maya, who was a nymph, a Pleiad nymph, he had his son Hermes, the messenger god. True, Hades, they were all. I mean, excuse me. Sorry. Here we go. Let's bring up some pictures. Oh, yes. Let's see. Well, here's some of them. But I'm looking for... Ah, this is better. Ah, damn it. Can you see? Alright, here's Artemis with a deer and her... she was always pictured with her bow and arrow. And, reading Zephyr's comment here. Interesting. And then, I did not know that, Zephyr. And then, where is Apollo? Apollo, also known as Apollon. He's usually pictured with his lyre, which is a musical instrument, L-Y-R-E. And yes, that's what he did. This has a mix of Greek and Roman names, I'm noticing, because here it says Pluton instead of Hades. Interesting. So, yes, his daughter here. These are all stereotypical pictures of them. With his eagle and his lightning bolt, I believe. Hera with her staff. Athena with her battle gear, her shield, her javelin, and her helmet. Ares. Hermes. Hermes was also god of... What was it, medicine? Because he also, is it not his symbol also related to medicine? Or am I getting confused? Help me out there, Zephyr. Am I mixing things up? Pluto, Poseidon with his trident. Hephaestus, we haven't discussed him yet, but he's with his forge. Demeter with her crops. Hestia with her hearth. Aphrodite with her mirror. Dionysus with his, what do you call that? Chalice, his goblet. and his grapes, and Apollon with his lyre. And... Alright, next child. Oh, yes, so there's one of his children, Hermes. Zephyr, my question was about Hermes, because isn't that the snake origins on the medical symbol? Yes. Ah, yes, thank you, God of Wolves, that's right. I knew it didn't seem quite right. Thank you. I knew that, I was like, that looks similar, but that's not the right god. Anyway, next. Zeus really liked to keep it in the family, you know, have good blood for his children, I guess. So after some children with his sisters and his cousins, he moved on to his aunt. Her aunts, I should say. There's Dione, who was a water nymph. With her, he had Aphrodite, goddess of sex, love, and beauty. Winner of the very famous competition about the most beautiful goddess, the one between... Who were the three in it? Hera, Aphrodite, and was it Artemis? The three goddesses fought about who was the most beautiful. They asked Paris to settle the score, and he chose Aphrodite, who in return gave him Helen of Troy, leading to the Trojan War. And that was the whole apple of discord, the apple for the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful goddess. Congratulations, Aphrodite. I think it was Hera, God of Wolves, wasn't it? And yes, something to know about Hera is she was excessively jealous. Although I think that's fair, given that her husband slept with just about every woman in his vicinity, or not in his vicinity. Just about any woman he ever set eyes on. So yes, very jealous. Alright, so Aphrodite. His other aunt, Themis, who was the goddess and personification of justice, divine order, law, and customs, he gave birth to the Fates, the Moirai. Let's see. Moirai, Greek mythology. Images. So, the Fates. And they do have names. I like this one better. Look at this one, the Fates. Zephyr, do you know the names of the Fates? I don't remember them all. So the Fates, this is very pretty art. I'd like a poster of this. And then he also, with his aunt Themis, had the Horai, or the Hours, which were the seasons. Let's see. Ah, look at them. 3 of them as well. Well, that's a stupid image. 3 of them. Did I just say 3? There's 4 of them, of course. That was stupid. Alright. For the Fates and the I'm sorry. He gave birth to the Fates and the Seasons with his aunt Themis. Then, Mnemosyne. Pop quiz. Who remembers when I referenced Mnemosyne in a video? Whoever remembers gets 20 admiration points. And tiebreaker, they get an advanced role in choosing the next topic for next Wednesday. Who remembers Mnemosyne in my video? I won't tell you who she was. Besides the fact that it was his aunt. Oh, thank you, Zephyr. That makes sense. His aunt with whom he didn't give birth. He laid with his aunt who had the Mosai, or the Muses, who are very famous. I do like the Muses. I find them very interesting. Let's find a good image of the Muses. How many Muses were there? Well, I can't say I like any of these very much. There were 9 Muses of things like theater, comedy, literature. Anybody remember Mnemosyne? Let me type it in the chat. Mnemosyne. I referenced her in a video. Beautiful 1F. Those are the Fate. What are you talking about, Con? Ah, interest. Ah, yes, Con. I see. Got confused. It was a video. It was in one of my stories, one of my fan stories. It was not the heretic video. You're very close. Keiki Chim, why do you want to hurt me with such a comment? Alright, I'll give you 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Mnemosyne. Yes. No. Not the abandoned wishes one, no. That's all right, everyone. It was the oh my goodness. What's the, well, it was the name of the, I'm trying to remember the name of the fan story, this fan story. Oh, Echoes of Hope. The Echoes of Hope movie. Yes, the time travel one, God of Wolves. The name of the project that Wells was working on was called Mnemosyne, because Mnemosyne was the goddess of memory. Long story short, he had the muses. She gave birth to the muses thanks to Zeus's very special semen. All right. Moving on. Let's close some of these. I do like that one. All right. Ah, yes, you can see here what Con referenced, right? The spinner, the cutter, and the weaver. Is that right? Very clever. All right. I really like this one. All right. Moving on. So, Zeus had many, many, many more children. So, he had approximately 100 children, depending on which myth, which author you trust, because they're not perfect agreement amongst the myths. So about 100. So yes, God of Wolves, don't look up Trojan horse without a safe search on either. I'll warn you against that one. Anyway, so about 100 children. Not this one. Where is the... No, not this one. Is this the one? Oh, goodness, it's zoomed in. Here we go. The children of Zeus. Are you ready? I'm not going to read them all. So here's his divine offspring. Do. Many, 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 many. But he didn't want to end there. He's like, well, now that I've banged all the goddesses and the titans and the nymphs and the I guess that's it. I guess I shall move on to some mortals. He moved on to some mortals. And when I say some, I mean many, many, many. Let's see. I was also going to go back on the discussion of before the gods. The first beings were chaos. Then there's the... wait, that's not what I wanted. No, never mind. Okay. About to move on. We'll take a look at some more pictures, though. So there was Kronos. Ah, look at this lovely image. Gaia. Goddess of the earth. Goodness. Rhea. Isn't she lovely? Moving on to some of Zeus's more, spicy encounters. Here's a nice one. So, Zeus, we'll start with Zeus and Leda, spelled Leda. Siren's Bubble Buddy, they are both correct. I believe one is the Greek spelling and one is the Roman spelling, is my understanding. Heracles is Greek. Alright, so, the story of Leda, L-E-D-A. Leda was a beautiful Spartan queen. One day, Zeus is sitting up on his throne, looking down at some chicks, and he sees Leda, and he's like, damn, she fine. So, he's like, I can't just come to her as a regular man. That's crazy. He comes to her instead as a swan, and lays down and impregnates her with his swanly equipment. And, then... Alright. Find a different image. Ah, here's a nice one. Here. So she's just going about her day. Swan lays down next to her. She's like, wow, that's beautiful. Oh, what are you doing? There's, disagreement about how consensual it was, but that's kind of how the Greek myths go. So he impregnates her, and then, that same day, she, lay with her husband, the king. So she is quadruple pregnant, according to some myths. She's pregnant twice by with 2 children by her husband and 2 children by Swan Zeus. And she gives birth to 4 kids. Most myths agree that Helen and Pollux were Zeus's children, and Clytemnestra and Castor were the king's children. All 4 were famous in Greek mythology later on. So, based on other myths about Zeus and his romantic encounters, it could have been worse. Next is Europa. Oh, here's a nice one. So, oh, damn it. So Europa, who some believe her name is the origin of the word Europe for the continent of Europe. So, son, the goose is your father. Yes. In some versions of the myth, she lays eggs, but that's not agreed upon. Anyway, so Europa, she was a Phoenician princess. One day she's out, Zeus spies her from above, and he again is like, damn, she fine. Although I wonder about his standards. So he figured, again, can't come to her as a man. So he transforms into a tame white bull, mixes in with her father's herd. She's out picking flowers, and she's like, wow, what a handsome bull in the herd. She goes over to him, caresses his flanks, and gets on his back. He's like, all right, we out, runs into the sea, and swims to the island of Crete. So, yes, he swims to Crete with her on his back, makes her the first queen of Crete. Personally, I think she got the best deal of most of the myths that I read, because on the island he gave her 4 generous gifts. He gave her a necklace made by Hephaestus, who was the god of, what do you call it? Like the forge. Let me find it. Hephaestus, god of fire, smiths, craftsmen, metalworking, stonemasonry, and sculpture. So he gave her a necklace made by Hephaestus. He gave her a bronze automaton god. Who can guess the name of her automaton god? I'm gonna type this in case you can't understand. Automaton god. He gifted her a bronze automaton god. Who can guess what its name was? Zephyr, you're not allowed. We'll just assume you know it. Ah, Con! Yes! Talos! So he gifts her Talos. He also gives her a hound, or a dog, named Lelaps, that always catches its quarry, and a javelin that never misses. That wink was not intentional. I saw her wink. Was not part of it. So yes, 4 very nice gifts. Later when she died, he turned her into some stars and then made the constellation Taurus to represent himself as the bull. Yes, she got a good deal, I'd say. And she also had 3 sons by him, Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Sarpedon. Minos doesn't have the best reputation. He becomes the king of Crete who creates the Minotaur. So he does not get good, he gets a bad rap, because he did a bad thing. Feeding people to the Minotaur and all. Alright, so that is another. Let's see. The next one. This one's perfect. I hope it's big enough. That's what she said. But not to Zeus. Can you tell here? I guess this one doesn't quite work. So, Semele, I don't know quite how to say it. Semele. She was a priestess of the temple of Zeus. And one day he's flying about as an eagle, as one does. And he sees her. And again, he's like, damn, she fine. And he visits her repeatedly. I think as a man, but unclear. Hera, of course, is jealous because her husband sleeps with every woman, including her, but kind of but her, I would say. So she befriends Semele, and she's like, hey, pretty sure that guy you're sleeping with is Zeus. You should ask him about that. So Semele's skeptical. She's like, nah, he ain't Zeus, that's crazy. So she goes to him and she's like, hey, I heard you're Zeus. Can you do me a favor? And he's like, I swear, I so swear that I shall do you this favor. Any favor you ask, I shall do it. She's like, okay, bet. Will you reveal yourself in all your godly, immortal glory? Reveal yourself to me as your pure Zeus form. And he's like, girl, nah, I don't want to do that. It's really bad. Don't make me do that. And she's like, well, you promised, bro. And he's like, all right, all right. But mortals cannot view gods in their true form. So she was incinerated by the lightning bolt he created, which burst into flame and all. But good news for her, she was pregnant. So when she incinerated, Zeus rescued the fetus, and as you would do, he sews the fetus into his thigh, for safekeeping, of course. And eventually that fetus is born, and his name is Dionysus. He is the god of... Where did it go? Something smells good. The W-I-N-D-O-W is open. And something smells kind of like Thai food, maybe. Dionysus is the god of winemaking, orchards, and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, and sanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. So, good news for her. Dionysus then... No, Acacia, I'm not done. Good news for her, because Dionysus grows up and rescues her from Hades. He's like, so I heard my mother was incinerated. Is there anything I can do about that? And they're like, yeah, just take a trip on down to Hades, bring her back up with you. And he does, and she becomes the goddess Thyone? I guess it'd be Tyone, because there was no TH, right? Oh, there was. Thyone? Zephyr, help me out there. Out of context, is that you? You smell delicious. Yes, Divine IVF, DM. It's what you gotta do. So that's the story of her. She, all things considered, turned out pretty well for her. Next, I already told you about Matisse. This one I love. This image, it's hilarious. So next is Danae. So, her father heard a prophecy that her son would unalive him. So he was like, oh, Old Spice? Well, that's not what I'm smelling out of context. It smells savory and Asian. So her father heard that she would birth a son who would unalive him. So, obviously, he put her into a bronze chamber, or tower, depending on what you read. He's like, I'm not letting you have any sons. Zeus was like, well, let's see what we can do about that. So, as you would expect, he rained down on her a golden rain, although some say golden coins, but golden rain which streamed through the roof of the chamber or tower. And then, of course, this golden rain dripped into her womb, which is why women, I don't know how many of you know this, but women never go outside when it rains. You have to wear protection. It's very dangerous. So that's part of why umbrellas were invented, I believe. Women can't get wet in the rain because it's actually Zeus trying to impregnate en masse. So yes, she became pregnant, had a baby. That baby later, that might have been, was that Perseus? Who does eventually accidentally hit a man in the head with a javelin, gone astray, and he unalives the man who was in fact his grandfather. So, oops. Charlemagne, it's golden rain? Hello? So, unfortunate. But I find this image hilarious because she's like, oh, rain, I haven't seen rain in so long. Oh, this doesn't seem right. I have a lot of questions. No, Zephyr, my children, you must get along. Con, you thought it was a disc? I guess it depends. I had always heard javelin, but disc makes just as much sense. So it probably depends on the myth. Alright, so sorry, Dane. Callisto. Let's see, let's get an image. Oh, no. Callisto and Zeus. I guess I ran out of time. Let me check my notes. Oh, right. Well, yikes. I guess I'll just bring up this image. So, Callisto, was, like a member of the cult of Artemis or a priestess or something. So, some myths say that what happened, so she, as a member of the Artemis cult or priestess, she was supposed to be chaste, maintain her chastity, very important. Because of, Artemis was the goddess of chastity. But then Zeus came to her, disguising himself as Artemis. And she was into that. And somehow that impregnated her. And depending on the myth, either Artemis or Hera was enraged by this, and one of the two of them transformed her into a bear. Then her son, Arcus? One day her son Arcus, her son born by Zeus, was hunting, and he almost unalives this bear, not knowing it's his mother. So Zeus does what any god would do, turns her into Ursa Major. Or Big Bear, the Big Bear constellation. Go out and look for it tonight. Ursa Major, one of the best known constellations. Yes, disguising himself, that's how you get chicks, Acacia. As a swan, as a bull. Some other stories. There was Alcmene. He came to Alcmene disguised as her own husband. I don't have an image of this. He came to Alcmene disguised as her own husband, and she lay with him. However, she was already pregnant, so she was double pregnant and gave birth to 2 children, one being Heracles and the other a twin. Heracles was a demigod because of his father being Zeus, and the other was just a regular, boring old regular kid, I believe. So that's Alcmene. Let's see, who else is left? Oh, Antiope, Zeus saw her and came to her disguised as a satyr. Let me show you what a satyr is. I guess this is what she was into. I feel like a lot of modern women... Oh, well look, I can see why. I only let you see that for a moment. Who caught it? A satyr. So he came to her. Well, that just looks like the devil. And that's how he came to her. And, so, yes. He seduced her. And I'm sure she had a child. I don't have the name written down. Then there is Eurymedusa. He seduced her. Well, is it the devil or is it a satyr? Charlemagne. I don't know. Here, like Mr. Tumnus, right? Oh no, Mr. Tumnus is a faun. Not the same. Satyr. Anyway, well this one looks more ordinary. Guess it depends. So he came to her as a satyr. I'm sure she had a child. He came to Eurymedusa as... Can anyone guess how he seduced Eurymedusa? Any guesses? I'll give you a hint. It's an animal. Ah, thank you, God of Wolves. I did not know that. So he came to her as an animal. Can you guess what animal? No Acacia, but don't worry. That's in the future. This is for Yuri Medusa. He came to her as an ant. You heard that right. An ant, as in the insect. A-N-T. Some myths say she also became an ant as part of it, but whatever. Next is Zeus and Io. I don't remember how Zeus came to Io. She was the first priestess of Hera. The first priestess of Hera. And I think you all are confusing the name. So he, Io was the first priestess of Hera. And Zeus went after her, of course. And Hera was furious. It's a very long story, so I have to have it up here. Hera was furious. And so, to protect her from Hera's wrath, he turned her into a white heifer. So a white cow. A white heifer to protect her. But then, here the story continues. Hera figured out about the heifer, so she's like... She knows the heifer is really, Io, so she says, "Hey, husband, I'd sure love it if you gifted me that white heifer." And he says, well, sure, of course, it's just an ordinary heifer, right? Right? It's just an ordinary heifer, of course. So he gives her the heifer. Hold on, I've got to stand up to get my steps in for the hour. I'm almost at 14 out of 14 hours for today. So, he gives her the heifer, and then Gaia is like, "Poor heifer. Here, I'll create the violet, and you can eat the violets." Continuing, Hera's like, well, I know he's still gonna sleep with her as a heifer, so she sends Argus Panoptes, a giant with 100 eyes, to watch and prevent Zeus from visiting Io. And so Zeus is like, that ain't gonna stop me, nothing stops me. So he sends Hermes to distract and slay Argus, or in some myths, he lulls the giant to sleep and slays him, and then Zeus is able to free Io. So, yay. Congratulations. But that's not the end of the story, because then Hera still wants revenge, so she sends a gadfly to sting Io continuously, driving her to wander the world without rest. What is the rest of the story? She met Prometheus. Prometheus comforted Io with the information that she would be restored to human form and become the ancestress of the greatest of all heroes, Heracles. She's restored to human form. Yes. She later marries an Egyptian king. So, yes. I guess it could have been worse. Next. Let's see. Last on my list. Zeus and Persephone, his own daughter? Oh, God. Persephone was his own daughter. Okay, that's the worst one so far, I think. I don't know, put in the chat, which is the worst? Mother, sister, cousin, daughter, or aunt? Anyway, oh, is she the Egyptian goddess Hathor? Con? I did not know that. God of Wars, no, he didn't sell her to Hades. Hades, captured her. And, that's how she became queen of, the underworld, wife of Hades against her will. And then, yes, I agree, Con. All Sleepy? Yes, I said it's a I said most, though, or worst. Anyway, last on the list, Zeus and his daughter. He came to her as a serpent, or some said as a... I saw one thing that said as a dragon, but that doesn't make sense. As a serpent. And in so doing, she gave birth to Zagreus. Zagreus placed him upon the throne of heaven, whence he was attacked and dismembered by the Titans. This is according to the myths of, the Orphic myths. His heart was recovered and he was reborn through Semele as the god Dionysus. So, congratulations. Could have been worse. You can understand why she doesn't look very pleased. So that was some of the many couplings of ZEUS. Here's this funny cartoon one. Oh my, look at Aphrodite. She's wearing the naked king skin. That says Persephone. What the hell is that? So yes, so many things. We only have a few minutes left, so let's discuss topic for next week. We'll put sharks on the list, suggest 2 more topics, and I will put the poll out. So, topic number 1, sharks. Topics number 2 and 3, go. Zephyr, I'm going to have to veto that, but it can stay on the list. Watermelon. Jupiter, what are you all saying? God of Wolves, I don't know how practical that is. Cooking, that's an awfully broad topic. Might have to be a little more specific. To tell you the science of spices. Cookie baking, the science of cookie baking. I'm very good at cookie baking. Chocolate chip is my specialty. The planet Jupiter. Okay, that is what you meant. 1F. We did discuss space last week. I mean, we didn't discuss it, but it was on the list. History of fruits. Oh, I understand. Okay. All right. Let's narrow this down. So we're gonna say sharks, spice science, or cookie baking. Which do you prefer between those 2 options? Quick, do you prefer cookie baking or spice science to be on the poll? Alright, spices it is. Okay, sharks, spices, and... Sorry. Spices got more votes out of context. It'll stay on the list. Spice science, sharks, and... Alright. We'll put spice science, sharks, cookies, and space. Those are the options. I'll type them here, but then I'll have a poll. Cookies, spice science, and space. Yes, but it's spelled with an E on the end. It's not one of my favorite spices, either. True, Zephyr, but to be fair, I'm always hungry. You do not get a cookie siren, but we will say if Cookie wins, we'll make that a cookie day and we'll all bring cookies to stream. Or a cookie. S'mores cookies are my favorite. Alright. Excuse me, sorry. Alright, get your votes in. Keiki Chim. No. The science of yogurt. As long as we're talking about real yogurt. I was gonna have us do a monthly food thing because we did the pizza night once, I was gonna have us once a month. Like, another time we could do tacos, another time we could do cookies, we could do smoothies, we could do boba. I was thinking once a month we'll have a group food-related, picnic? Potluck? What do you call it? Where we all eat the same thing, or the same type of thing. Raisins out of context, never. Raisins are the only dried fruit that I don't like. I even like prunes. Alright, everyone, get your votes in. 1 more minute. Well, yes, God of Wolves, but we can only try to have coordinated eating once a month. Alright. At the moment, sharks and spices are tied with cookies close behind. Is space lagging then? True, Acacia. I just don't know what else to call it. I mean, virtual picnic sounds stupid. Alright. Might have to have a sudden unaliving between sharks and spices. Yes, Charlemagne, it's looking like a tie. Alright, sudden death between spices and sharks. Siren, we have to include the word food in there somehow, because it's always a virtual gathering, so virtual food gathering? That sounds boring. Spicy sharks. Alright. Sorry, Blue Tut 13. Spice wins! Alright, Science of Spices then. I have some great books on this topic, so I'm eager. Actually, I have 2 or 3 great books on this topic. So, we will be discussing that. And let's plan on that night having some food. How about, we'll discuss this later. Tomorrow or Friday, we'll do a vote of what food we want to bring that day. Or maybe actually Monday. We'll do it on Monday. We'll decide. I'm thinking maybe tacos, or Korean barbecue, or I don't know. Anyway, tomorrow is gaming. We'll see how few times I can get burned by my fire. But I did reposition it near the water, so we'll see. Alright, thank you everyone for joining. And don't forget, Friday is Grave guest host stream. So I will be talking slow and low. Simping with Grave. Simping for Cinderella. So that'll be Friday. Alright, everyone. Thank you for joining. Majram!